If you live long enough, you start to believe that nothing can surprise you anymore. But life has a strange way of proving that even the strongest hearts can still break. My name is Margaret Harris, and for 73 years, I have been many things. A wife, a mother, a widow, a friend, but most of all, I have been the keeper of a home that carried my entire life within its walls. Our house stood at the end of Maple Street, wrapped in ivy and memories. My husband Thomas built it with his own hands. Every corner whispered his laughter. Every door still carried the faint scent of his cologne. After he died, I would walk through the rooms at night, listening to the echo of his presence. A quiet comfort that never left me. The living room still had his old armchair, patched and worn. I could never bring myself to throw it away. "It's ugly," Anna used to say. "Yes," I would answer, "but it's the kind of ugly that holds love." Anna, my only child, my reason to live when grief wanted to drown me. I worked 2 jobs, skipped meals, and wore the same coat for years just to keep her dreams alive. She was bright, ambitious, and stubborn, just like her father. But as she grew older, something changed. Calls became shorter. Visits became rarer. Still, I made excuses for her. She has her own life now, I'd tell myself. That's how it should be. Until the morning when a stranger came to my door. He looked harmless enough. A young man in a gray suit, holding a clipboard and wearing an apologetic smile. "Good morning, ma'am," he said politely. "I'm here for the pre-move inspection." "Inspection?" I repeated, confused. "You must have the wrong address." He checked his papers, then smiled again. "No mistake, Mrs. Harris. The property was sold 2 weeks ago. The new owners move in next Friday." For a few seconds, the world went quiet. The sound of the ticking clock behind me faded. Then my voice, small, uncertain, escaped me. "Sold? No, that's not possible. I live here." He hesitated. "Your daughter handled everything, ma'am. She signed the documents." My daughter. Those 2 words hit me harder than any storm ever could. I thanked him somehow, though I don't remember how. My hands were trembling as I closed the door. I leaned against it for support, feeling the cold wood press into my back. It was as if the house itself was holding me upright, the last thing still on my side. I called Anna immediately. She answered after a few rings, her voice full of that casual cheer that now sounded so unfamiliar. "Hey, Mom. What's wrong?" I didn't even greet her. "Anna," I said, "someone came to the house today. He said it's been sold. Tell me it isn't true." Silence. Then a small sigh like I was being overdramatic. "Oh, Mom. Yes, I was going to tell you. I sold it." I stood frozen. "You sold my house?" "It's not a big deal," she said quickly. "You don't need that big old place anymore. You live there alone. It's too much for you to handle. I found you a small apartment downtown, close to everything. It'll be easier. And besides," she added, "the money really helped Brian and me with our mortgage." I opened my mouth, but no words came. My throat felt tight, my hands numb. "Anna," I finally whispered, "this is your father's house. Our life is in these walls. You had no right." She cut me off. "Mom, please. Don't make this harder. I did what's best for everyone. You'll thank me later." And then, the click of disconnection. She hung up. I stood there listening to the silence. The air felt heavier. The house, my home, seemed to breathe differently now, as if even it had realized that it had been betrayed. I walked to the kitchen, placed my hand on the countertop my husband built, and whispered, "She sold you, Tom. She sold everything we built." I sat in his armchair and let the memories wash over me. Birthdays, Christmases, the day Anna took her first steps. All of it sold, for money I would never see. I didn't scream. I didn't curse her name. That's not what mothers do. I simply closed my eyes and felt something inside me break. But it wasn't just pain. Beneath that ache, there was a spark, a quiet, familiar strength I thought had died with my husband. That night, I couldn't sleep. I packed a few things: my wedding ring, a family photo, and my husband's old toolbox. Then I sat by the window watching the moonlight spill across the garden. And in that stillness, I made myself a promise. She thought she took everything from me. She thought I would simply accept it, too weak to fight back. But she had forgotten. I am her mother, and a mother doesn't stop when her heart breaks. She rises when her child forgets what love truly means. The next morning, I called an old friend, my husband's lawyer, Mr. Clark. He answered with surprise, but when I told him what happened, his voice turned sharp. "Margaret," he said, "I think your daughter has made a mistake. That property was under your husband's name, not hers. Let me check the old files." For the first time in days, I felt hope, small but alive. As I waited for his call, I walked through the house again, tracing my fingers along the walls. "This isn't over," I whispered. "Not yet." When the phone rang that afternoon, I already knew deep down what he would say. And when he did, my tears weren't of pain this time. They were of quiet strength, because that day, I learned something my daughter didn't know. You can sell bricks, but not memories. You can take a roof, but not a mother's heart. Morning sunlight slipped through the curtains, falling on the half-packed boxes in my living room. I hadn't touched them since the real estate man left. Each cardboard edge looked like a silent accusation, a reminder of what had been taken without a word. But that morning, I wasn't the same woman who trembled at the door. I was someone else. Someone my daughter had forgotten existed. Mr. Clark called right after breakfast. His voice was steady, but I could hear the quiet satisfaction beneath it. "Margaret," he said, "your daughter didn't read the paperwork properly. When your husband passed, the property was transferred fully to your name. She forged your signature on the sale. That's a serious offense." My heart tightened. I didn't want to hear words like forged or offense. That wasn't how I raised her. But I also couldn't ignore what she had done. "What can I do?" I asked quietly. He sighed. "You could press charges, but I know you won't. Still, you can reclaim the property legally. The sale isn't valid without your consent." I thanked him, and for the first time in weeks I smiled, not because I had won, but because I still had a choice. That afternoon I sat in my garden, the same place where Anna once built mud castles and chased butterflies. I looked at the empty swing she used to love, swaying gently in the wind. How could the same child who once begged me to hold her hand now treat me like an inconvenience? I didn't want revenge. I wanted her to understand. So instead of calling her, I let her come to me. 3 days later, she did. She arrived in her shiny black car, stepping out with the kind of confidence that looked like armor. She had always been beautiful, but now her beauty carried a sharp edge, polished by pride and success. "Mom," she said with that forced brightness, "I was just coming to check if you're settling into the apartment." I didn't answer. I simply gestured toward the chair across from me in the garden. She hesitated, sensing something different. Once she sat down, I said quietly, "I spoke to Mr. Clark." Her face froze. "Mr. Clark?" "Yes," I said. "He showed me the documents. You forged my signature." Color drained from her face. "Mom, I was going to tell you." "Tell me what?" I interrupted softly. "That you stole the home your father built with his hands? That you sold my life's memories because it was inconvenient for you?" Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't stop. I needed her to hear it. "When you were little," I said, "your father and I used to say you'd grow up strong. But strength without heart, Anna, isn't strength. It's selfishness." She covered her face with her hands. I thought you'd be happier somewhere smaller. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did, I whispered. And what hurts most isn't the sale. It's that you didn't even ask. Silence stretched between us. Heavy. Suffocating. Then I said the word she never expected. The sale is invalid. The house is still mine. Her head snapped up. What? I could take you to court, I continued. Mr. Clark says I have every right. But I won't. She blinked, confused. You won't? No, you're my daughter. And while you may have forgotten that, I haven't. But I am going to teach you something you'll remember for the rest of your life. I stood slowly, my knees aching, but my voice steady. You and Brian needed money. So here's what I've decided. I'm not kicking you out of my life. I'm offering you a chance to earn back your conscience. She frowned, uncertain. I'm donating the house, I said simply, to the local shelter, the one for single mothers. It will become a home again, for those who lost theirs. Your father would have liked that. Her mouth fell open. Mom, you can't. Oh, I can, I said softly. It's mine, remember? For a long moment, she just stared at me. Then, anger replaced shock. This is ridiculous. That house is worth $500,000. You're just throwing it away. I'm giving it away, I corrected. To people who actually understand what a home means. She stood abruptly. You're doing this to punish me. I looked at her, eyes calm. No, Anna, I'm doing this to remind you. You can rebuild a house but not trust. You can buy furniture but not love. Her shoulders slumped, and the anger drained away, replaced by something far smaller. Shame. For the first time in years, I saw my little girl again. The one who used to cry when she broke her doll's arm. Mom, she whispered. I messed up. I didn't answer. I simply opened my arms, and after a long pause, she stepped into them. For a few seconds we stood there, her tears soaking my shoulder. I'm sorry, she said, voice trembling. I don't know what I was thinking. I know, I said softly. You forgot where you came from. Over the next few weeks, the house slowly transformed. Volunteers came in, painting, repairing, laughing. The scent of fresh paint mixed with the smell of old wood and sunlight. I watched from the porch, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Anna visited often, helping quietly. She didn't speak much, but her hands worked harder than anyone's. One evening, I found her sitting in the same garden chair, staring at the house as the sun dipped low. I used to think this house was just walls and wood, she said softly. Now I get it. It was never about the place. It was about what it held. I smiled. It's never too late to remember. She turned to me, hesitant. Mom, could we maybe start over? I looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time I saw not the daughter who betrayed me, but the woman she was becoming. We already have, I said. The opening day of the shelter came 3 months later. The local newspaper covered it. Harris Home for Mothers. The plaque by the door read, "A place built on forgiveness, not walls." When the first young woman moved in, a mother with 2 small children, I handed her the keys. She cried, thanking me again and again. But I just smiled. Don't thank me. Just promise me you'll fill this house with laughter. That night, when everyone had left, I stood on the porch one last time. The wind rustled through the ivy, and I swore I could hear my husband's voice in it. Proud, gentle. You did good, Maggie. Tears filled my eyes, but this time, they weren't from pain. They were from peace. A few weeks later, Anna invited me over for dinner. Her home, the one she shared with Brian, felt warmer than before. There were family photos on the wall again, laughter in the air. She'd been different lately, calmer, humbler. When she served dinner, her hands still trembled a little, like she was trying to hold on to what mattered this time. "Mom," she said suddenly as we ate, "I've been volunteering at the shelter every Saturday. I help with budgeting and job applications." I looked up, surprised. "Really?" She nodded, smiling faintly. "It feels good, like I'm doing something that matters. I think Dad would be proud." I reached across the table and squeezed her hand. He already is. After dinner, as I was leaving, she hugged me tightly, tighter than she had in years. "Thank you," she whispered. "Not for forgiving me, but for reminding me who I am." I smiled. "That's what mothers do, darling. We don't give up, even when the world says we should." Now, months later, I often walk by the shelter on my evening strolls. I hear children laughing, see women chatting on the porch, and sometimes catch a glimpse of Anna helping in the garden. The house is alive again, full of warmth, full of second chances, and every time I see it, I whisper quietly to myself, she never expected what I'd do next. And maybe that's exactly what she needed. Because the real lesson wasn't about money or property or pride. It was about the kind of strength that doesn't shout. It simply endures. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it builds a bridge to something better. And sometimes that's all a mother's heart ever wanted. Not revenge, not pity, just understanding.